your best interest, that I love you. I'm looking out for your best interest. I wanted you to be closer so that we and you and I and my children, your grandchildren, can spend more time with you. And just tell her very firmly, do not listen, do not tell them that we're discussing you moving. Do not talk to them. Do not tell them. Let me look for you. And when we find something, we'll move you. And after you move, you can let them know you're gone.
Yes,
You have
I
to
think
be
that's a
very firm
great
with your mom.
idea.
You have to be very firm with her
Oh, yeah,
and telling her, because if they don't know what they can interfere if they don't know.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's great that she kind of would move closer to this area too, because this way I can keep an eye on her more. Over at the other place, I can't exactly, help her like we usually try and help her.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband and I, we took really good care of her when she had cancer, when she's going through breast cancer.
Yeah, tell her, just tell her that. And if you'd like to connect with me off the air, my phone number is 818. No, my phone number is 562
Okay.
726 1712. Okay.
1 second, let me get
Yeah.
a pen. Okay, one more time now.
562
562.
726 1712.
Okay.
I'm having a special on psychic readings, $30 for 30 minutes and 50 for an hour.
Oh, wow. That is a good deal.
Yes, if you're interested in getting more of a in-depth reading regarding this situation with the mother and family, just contact me.
Okay, great.
And
Thank
if you would
you
like
very
to, and if
much.
anybody would like to find out about other events I do, I teach classes, I do psychic fairs, I have other events, just join my meetup group, the Psychic Development Circle.
Okay. Yes.
And the lovely lady with the iPhone, what is your name?
Are you talking to me?
Who?
I'm not sure. My name should be on there. I don't think you're talking to me.
Oh, all right. I'll just talk to you. I think she might just be listening. Your name is Anna.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Anna.
Hi.
And Anna, I'm seeing all these animals around you. Did you have more than one pet that has passed away? Because I'm seeing all these animals around you.
Nothing recently. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
In the past, did you have some pets that passed away?
We had childhood pets, and yes, over the years they've passed away.
Oh, all right. Then I'm picking up the pets that you've had in the past. The pets that you owned, that you had in the past, that lived with you. I'm picking up their spirits, and they're around you.
Okay.
They're all surrounding you.
That's nice.
And was there a dog that was a female dog that kind of had like whitish and brownish hair and maybe medium length hair?
We had mostly male dogs. I'm sorry, I can't think of.
Was there a dog that I'm picking up sometimes when you, I pick up feminine male energy, and it might not necessarily be the sex of the dog. I might be picking up the male energy the female energy, because the dog was kind of more feminine than masculine.
Okay, it's possible. We had so many dogs over the years. They were family pets. It's a big
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, this one was kind of more feminine. It was not a real aggressive dog. It was a very sweet dog, a very sweet and affectionate and loving dog.
Yes, that could be.
Yeah, but the animals still are around you, and they're like your power animals,
It's not-
protecting you. And this dog, I feel, was kind of like a herder. It always was, herding the other dogs, wanting the other dogs to be in the same room as it. Does that make any sense?
Well, we did have a dog that was brown and white. It was a beagle.
Yeah.
And it used to run in circles around our family cottage. It actually wore a path because it would go. So the herding could be maybe something
I think
like,
it could be. I think it could be that dog that's coming through.
yeah, it could be.
Yeah, he says I'm the guardian of the other dogs that you have on the other side. That I am their guardian.
Very nice.
Yes. And they're coming through. Was there any connection to your family with Ireland or Scotland? Ireland or Scotland?
My grandfather came from Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. Okay. I could be wrong about the country. I just picked up a guide on the other side that was from another country.
Yeah, that could be my grandfather came from Sweden. That's the only thing I could think of that might be related to that.
Oh, all right. I feel it could be, that country. I just got the country wrong, but I definitely picked up it was a family member that was from another country, and they were coming through.
Okay.
So I feel that it's your your grandfather that's coming through.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was close with my grandparents, so that could definitely be.
Yeah, I feel that it's him coming through. And he's saying that he wants you to know your heritage. That it's important for you to know your heritage and for you to connect your heritage.
That's interesting. Okay.
I feel his heritage was very important to him, and it seems to be important to him for you to have be connected to your heritage. And I think the reason he's saying that, to be connected to your heritage, that he wants you to be in contact and communication with that side of the family.
Okay. Yes, my father is still alive, so maybe he wants me. I actually am very close to him. I just reached out to him a few days ago, but yeah, I mean, he's being very well taken care of, so.
Yeah, I think that's what he means by connecting to heritage, is to be close to that side of the family, and so he wants you to spend time communicating with your father, and he wants you to, when the time is right, to go and see your father.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's not likely to happen anytime soon, but
It's not going to happen anytime soon. He just says that's why he's saying when the time is right.
okay.
But
All
maybe,
right.
but maybe communicate with him on Zoom. He just feels that you need to connect with him,
Okay, yeah, and I do
that you
frequently.
need to connect with him and you need to be close to him. And that's what he's communicating.
Okay,
You might want to do your genealogy,
okay,
go to ancestry.com and do the genealogy, because your grandfather, is the one that, he didn't mention Sweden. He mentioned Scotland and Ireland to me. He didn't mention Sweden.
it
And
it
yeah,
actually could be my other grandfather who I barely knew at all. So I mean, that's possible. So I guess I could look into it and I mean, I'm just not sure. There's
yeah,
this,
because he's saying that there could be, and if you do your ancestry, that you could find out that there has been family from the past that was connected to Scotland and Ireland. So I don't think it's the grandfather. I think the grandfather that's coming through is your father's grandfather, but he's just telling me, to look into that. He's telling me that you also have heritage from Scotland and Ireland.
okay.
And that's not going to make sense to you unless you do go to ancestry.com and look up your ancestry.
And there's somebody else that I would really love to hear from today. I don't know if it's even possible, but
Is the person that you're wanting to hear from today, is this, I'm kind of picking up two people. I'm picking up a person that died when they were young. I'm picking up a younger person, and then I'm also picking up a female.
the female.
And do you know of a person in the family who maybe died at a young age?
Ooh, someone who died at a young age in the family. I mean, my mom had a brother that was a twin, and the twin died at birth. That is
Okay,
the
it might be that. It might be the soul of the twin.
I can think of.
Yeah, it might be the soul of a twin, because the female spirit was telling me about someone who died at a young age. I feel that it's the twin, and she says that the twin has been reborn into your family. So I feel that there is a little boy in your family, and that little boy is the twin that has been reborn.
Okay.
So that's what she means. I feel that there's a little boy in the family.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge family, and there's a number of children that
Yeah,
have.
you wouldn't have any way of knowing, but she says, do not worry about it, that she will reveal that to you.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, my niece just adopted twin boys.
Okay, one of those twin boys is the twin, the twin that died.
That would be my mom's brother.
Yeah,
My
the twin that died is one of those twin boys that she has, is that child
that's lovely.
that he's reincarnated back into the family.
I've been trying to, I'm going to get specific. I'm not sure I should do this. Honestly, this is my first meeting. So tell me if I'm doing something wrong.
No, you're fine. We don't have much time. So let me, connect to the female spirit.
Yes, please connect to the female spirit.
I feel that the female spirit is a family member,
Yes, ma'am.
and she feels like, to me, um, the sister of someone in your family?
Well, it's my mother that I'm trying to connect with.
Oh, okay, because she's saying something about a sister in the family, so.
And she has
What?
sisters, some have passed. She has a bunch of sisters, some have
Is there a
passed.
sister is there a sister, did her sister also pass away? You're at?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that have.
Oh, okay, that's who she's talking about. That's who she's talking about, because she kept saying my sister. So I feel that she has reconnected to her sisters on the other side. And I feel that there was a younger sister that she was close to.
Yeah, I mean, she was the oldest girl of all the sisters. It's another big family.
Yeah, I feel that of all the sisters, this would be, of all the sisters in her family, this would be the one that is the youngest sister.
Okay, all right.
She says that she is with her sisters on the other side, and that she feels very protective of the younger sister, that she probably feels more protective of this younger sister than the other sisters.
Okay,
They seem to be able to take care of themselves. But this younger sister had a very hard time when she passed on.
oh, my mom only passed a few weeks ago. And so it's interesting because I actually got an extremely vivid dream that she visited me about a week before she died. And that's kind of what's awakened all this in me, because it was so vivid that I actually believe she was visiting me
She was
before.
visiting you in your dream, and she wants you to know, I'm taking care of my family on the other side. Your mother was always like the caretaker, the one that took care of everybody in the family. She says, I'm taking care of all my family members on the other side.
Can you please tell her that I would like any communication from her and guidance in my own life? I would really appreciate it.
If you call me after the the spiritual circle, my number is 562.
Sorry. Okay, wait, 562.
562-726-1712. I will give, that's 562-726-1712. I could give you a meditation that you can do to connect to her.
Okay, thank you so much. I
All right,
appreciate
but your mother's with you. She loves you. She says you're being taken care of. I'm taking care of the family. I'm taking care of the family on the other side, and I'm taking care of the family here.
it. All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, and hello, Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Shelley. Hi,
Oh, okay.
Shelley.
Hi, I'm glad to see you again.
Oh,
And you
thank
wanted-
you. It's always a pleasure to see you.
And you wanted to connect to your daughter?
Oh, sure, absolutely. If she's available, certainly, certainly.
Yeah. I feel that your daughter says that your abilities are becoming stronger.
Wonderful.
That your channeling abilities are becoming stronger, and that you should be doing more channel writing, and
Alrighty.
that she is going to help you to do channel writing for other people.
Oh, interesting.
That you're going to be doing channel writing for other people, and that she is going to be helping you with that.
Oh, awesome. How exciting.
Yeah, and doing channeling for other people. She says that she wants you to work on developing your gift of channeling. She wants you to work on developing your abilities,
Okay.
to develop your channeling abilities.
Awesome.
That she wants you to work on that more.
And how do you channel for other people in writing? Do you like ask them if they want a message, then you channel for them and send it to them?
Yes, you just
Okay.
to do channel writing, you just simply ask the spirit to come through
Mhm.
to give a message for the person you're channeling through. You ask them to come through.
Okay. But typically, I was just a little confused as to how you would go about doing it for somebody else.
If you call
I mean,
me
to myself-
if you call me after the show too, 562 726-1712, I could give you tell you how to do the channel writing
Oh, perfect. Oh, that'd be awesome.
and help
Great.
you with that, because your
that'd
daughter
be
is
perfect.
is definitely wanting you to do more channel writing. That she's wanting you to do that.
It makes sense because she loved to write. She wrote all the time. So,
Yeah.
well,
She's saying something about a dog companion.
yes.
Was there a dog that kind of was either kind of a tannish or a whitish dog that passed on, that was always around her, that she was close to and was always very protective of her?
Yes. That's Annie.
Yes, she says the dog
It's
is with
it's a
me.
lab.
She says the dog is
Yay,
with
that's
me.
Perfect.
Yeah, she says the dog is with me and the dog is protecting me.
Oh, wonderful.
And she's saying that she wants you to have a dog.
Well, I still have hers. Hers is right here. You can see it or not. That tan dog there is hers. She
Oh, all
left.
right. Yeah, she
Yeah,
wants
it's
you to
another tan
spend.
dog.
She wants you to spend a lot of time with the dog, give it a lot of love, and spend a lot of time with it. And she's saying that maybe that she feels that it's time that the dog had a companion.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, they're yeah, okay. I understand her
The dog
message. She wants
misses
me to
the
do
dog misses the other dog a lot, and it gets very lonely when you're not there, and it gets upset when it's alone because it was used to being with another dog. So she's saying she wants you to get another dog as a companion to this dog. But Annie, she says, does come and visit her too.
oh, how wonderful. That's awesome.
Yes. And
Hey,
just call. What are you going to say, dear?
I was gonna say, do you have any advice, or is she saying anything about how I could have a better relationship with her? Because right now it's kind of like it's a one-sided relationship, it seems like, and she's always coming to me to help me, to help me, to help me. Can we build a relationship where we have, camaraderie? I hang out with her, we go do stuff. Does that make sense?
To have a better relationship with her, just go into meditation, or ask her to appear in your dream, because in your dreams you can the dream state and the meditative state is where you can interact with each other.
Gotcha.
So call me
Okay.
after the show, and I'm so glad you came.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
And
much,
if
Shelley, for spending a
And
few
if
minutes
anybody
with
would
me.
like to find out about any classes I'm doing, I do teach channeling to people. I teach other things. If anyone wants to find about what classes I'm teaching, I do psychic fairs, I do teaching, I have other events that I do. Just go join my group, the Psychic Development Circle with Shelley. And Nancy, can you hear me, Nancy?
Yes, I could hear you.
And Nancy, when you were young, was there someone in your family when you were young, probably in your teens or 20s, that died suddenly and maybe a tragic death, and they died suddenly?
My brother.
Your brother? Your
Yeah,
brother is
he
coming
was
through.
20. He was 21. And I
Yeah,
was
because I
20.
felt he was a young, someone young that died
Mhm.
suddenly, before and kind of had a tragic death. But he says, "My suffering is behind me. I am happy. I am happy to be with the family on the other side."
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's funny because last week I kept dreaming him and I wasn't even like it wasn't even I wasn't even thinking about it, but he kept coming to me in dreams.
Oh, all right, because I feel, he is with you.
Okay. Wow.
And he's saying that there's someone in your life that he doesn't feel that's good for you, a man. He doesn't like him. He doesn't feel that he's good for you. He doesn't feel that he respects you. He doesn't feel that he appreciates you. He's very upset about this man around you. Is there a man around you?
Yeah, he didn't like him then, and I
He
don't
doesn't
think he
like
would
him
like him now.
now.
Yeah.
He's saying, get rid of him.
Okay.
He
I
says, I don't
understand.
like him.
Yeah, he never did. He never did. Yeah.
He's saying that relationship might not last because he is bringing a new love to you. That
Okay.
our loved ones on the other side can intervene and help us. And he says he's bringing a man that will really love you and appreciate you and be good to you.
Okay.
That he's bringing another man, and he's coming in August, September, October
Okay.
is when he's coming in.
Okay. I'm gonna be on the lookout.
But he's with you. He's with you, dear, and he loves you very much.
Oh,
And if you
yeah, I
have
love
any
him
more
too.
questions about your brother, call me at 562
Okay.
726 1712.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Oh, wait, and can I tell you something, Shelly?
yes,
I came in like, I don't know, maybe like 5, 6 months ago, and you
yes,
had told me that my grandfather said that my son was going to graduate school to not worry. And I
yeah.
just found out this morning he's graduating in June from high school.
Oh, thank you. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing me with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for coming again.
Oh, thank you.
And David, can you hear me, David?
Yes. Oh, how you doing, Shelley? Pleased to meet you.
I'm doing fine, David. I love your little mouse.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there you are, David. Okay. And David,
Yes, that is I.
I feel that there is your father or grandfather is coming through,
Oh, okay.
and they always worked really hard to take care of and support the family. And they are saying that you're going to be successful with your work, that you are going to be more successful with your work, that you're going to be more successful with your career. And there seems to be, in the next 2 or 3 months, they're telling me, a new job or career opportunity coming up for you. That in the next 2 or 3 months, there'll be a new job or career opportunity, is what they're telling me, that they're guiding you to they're going to lead you to the new career. And that you do have a job, but you feel that you have that you haven't gone as far as you would like in your job. You kind of feel stuck, and they feel that a new job is coming up, and that it's a business opportunity. It actually may, David, involve you going into business with another person. that there'll be an opportunity to go into business with another person, that this is somebody that you know, and that he has an idea for a business, and that he is going to approach you, and that you may be going this year into business with him. And they wanted to share that with you.
Okay. I'm 55 and I was just getting ready to retire from the military. So I guess maybe.
He's telling you your work is not over. He says, I have news for you. Your work is not over.
My bones are feeling it, but okay. Yep. Yep. I got
Yeah, and the military was good, but I feel that you just got to a place where you just felt, kind of stuck, and that you weren't going any place, advancing, going in the direction you wanted with your military career. And he says, please be open to this business opportunity. It's something you will enjoy doing. It won't feel like work to you. It'll feel like play, and you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Yes. So I have news for you. They're saying you're not retiring. And
Understood.
yes, Monica, are you there, Monica?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Monica.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. And I love the background, the ocean.
Thank you. That's the Del Mar Beach.
Oh, wow. I feel that your mother is saying something about an older family member not being well, and that you need to take your mother or grandmother, actually. It's your mother or grandmother that's coming through. And they're saying there's a member of the family that is not well right now, and they want you to take care of them. Do you know who this would be?
Is that my mother? Because I talk to her every day, but I don't know of the fact that she's sick.
No, I don't think it's your mother that's sick. I think it's somebody related to your mother. And you might, if you don't know about it, you'll be finding out about it.
Okay. Okay. Is there a way to know who that is? Because I don't have a lot of relatives that live.
Yeah, I don't feel that you're, I feel that your mother may have not felt well a couple of weeks ago, but she's better now.
Okay.
It might be your mother. I wasn't sure, but the grandmother was saying, keep an eye on your mother.
Okay. Because I've asked her to come here and she just doesn't want to come here yet. So
Yeah,
should
I don't think she's really sick, but I do feel that maybe a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that she wasn't feeling really well, and that she didn't tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because your mother is not one to talk about herself.
Right.
Yeah, so she wasn't feeling really well. She didn't talk about it. She may not feel well again, but your grandmother is saying not to worry. It's not nothing. It's not any kind of a disease.
Okay.
It just may be like an illness that she may have. But she says that the illness is not going to be a disease, because she's protecting her, and she will not allow that to happen.
Okay. So what can I do? Because I call my mom pretty much every day and I talk to her, and she seems fine. Or if I do FaceTime with her, she seems fine. So what can I do to help?
She's saying just to tell the mother that don't let her know that she wasn't feeling well. Just simply say, if in the future, I'm glad you ever don't feel well, please do not feel that you cannot share that with me.
Okay.
That's all you need to tell her.
Okay.
And by telling her that, if she may not feel well again, if she doesn't feel well, she'll open up to you.
Okay.
But your grandmother is saying, don't worry. She's not, it's not a disease.
Okay. Okay. I wanted to know if I can hear from my dad, like, how is he doing? I feel sad, like pretty much every day. And I miss him, and I always wonder like how he is or if he's still with me.
I feel that your dad is still with you, and he's saying that he spends a lot of time with your mother, that he
Okay.
loved you and the mother very much.
Mhm.
And he says, I am with you, and that I feel that you are in a good place in your life. You seem to have love in your life, someone in your life that you love, that you're close to. And he seems to feel that you're in a good place. He likes the person you're with. He says he's a keeper.
I am not dating anyone. I don't have anyone.
Oh, okay. He's talking like you already have a relationship. So
don't.
I think maybe the reason he's talking like you have a relationship, I think, he's telling me that's what's going to happen in the future. He said he's sorry he confused me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that I guess what he's trying to say is that you are going to have a new love in your life. Love is coming in your life, and you're going to be happy that he says that he is bringing a very special man into your life, and that you are going to get married in a year.
Okay. That's great. When is
that
the
he-
person coming into my life? Because I feel like I've been single for a very long time, waiting for this person to show up.
He says it wasn't the right timing, that you needed to heal, that there was things going on in your personal life that needed to be healed. It just wasn't the right timing for the man to come in. If he had come in during that time, that the relationship may have not worked out because you had a lot of issues you were dealing with, and you would not been able to focus your attention on the relationship.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But he's saying that this is a relationship year for you, and probably sometime February, March, April, before May, new love is coming in. He says, I love you very much. I'm always with you. I'm always with your mother, and I will come to you in your dreams. And all you have to do if you want to connect with me is just talk to me, and I will come through.
Okay.
So he's still with you. But he wanted you to know to wash your, to look at that he and the grandmother wanted you to know, that the mother didn't feel well, but they wanted to reassure you that it's nothing life-threatening, and it's not a disease.
Okay.
She
Okay.
just doesn't always take, you have to tell your mother she needs to eat.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes I feel she forgets to eat, or she just doesn't eat enough, and that's why she wasn't feeling well.
I see. Okay. Okay.
And if anyone wants to connect with me, my special for psychic readings, medium, tarot, clairvoyant, pet psychic, past life readings, it's $30 for 30 minutes and $50 for an hour. And just call me at 562-726-1712, or go to my website, Psychic Shelley, HOFBERG.com, and go to my meetup group, the Psychic Development Circle, if you would like to find out about other events, classes, and psychic fairs.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shelley. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, dear. Mel, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, Mel, are you there?
Hi.
Oh, there you are, Mel. Okay.
Did it come up? Let me see. There I am.
Oh, there you are. I think that yes, I recognize you. You've been to my spirit channeling circle before, haven't you?
Not your circle, but I have been to these before.
Oh, okay, you just look so familiar to me, like I've seen you somewhere.
Yeah, I met you in person years ago too. So
Oh, all right, maybe that's what it is, because you look familiar to me.
yeah, well, probably from the webinars. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mel, was there anybody? I'm picking up like a female spirit that I feel is mother and grandmother, and mother and grandmother both on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah, mother and grandmother are together on the other side, and they're talking about that you need to use to be on the healing path. Are you a healer?
Did I need to be on the healing app?
Healing path.
Oh, the healing for myself or
Yes. Yeah.
more self-care? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. More self-care.
Yeah, I agree
Are-
with that. Yeah.
Are you doing anything involving healing?
Well, like meditation or energy healing?
Yeah, energy healing, meditation, doing and trying to work on healing yourself.
Yeah. That's an ongoing process, but yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So maybe that's what she means by the healing path, that you are involved with, that you're constantly, working on yourself, and you're constantly working on healing yourself.
Yeah, I probably should be doing it every day, and that's probably what she's
Yeah, because
mentioning.
she's saying there's some things that need to be healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that need to be healed. That there's some, and she's talking about that you're dealing right now with some emotional issue. Is something going on emotionally?
Yeah. My roommate, my ex, he needs to move out, so that affects me a lot emotionally.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, because she says, yeah, because it was important, because she was talking about that you're dealing with emotional issue, and she's feeling that you need intervention and dealing with the situation, that it's just very hard for you to deal with the situation on your own, that you need some family intervention to help you with the situation.
Which should probably be spiritual intervention.
Yes, yes, spiritual
They
intervention.
can push them out, like spook them out.
Yeah, you need some family intervention,
Yeah.
to help you.
Does she have any opinion upon him?
I don't want to be mean, but she's calling him a loser.
That's not being mean. That's accurate.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but that's what she told me. What a loser. That he's not emotionally supportive of you.
No. Mm-mm.
That he is a selfish person, that the relationship was all about you taking care of and catering to him, that he did not take care of you.
Not emotionally. No.
Yeah, physically he did, but not emotionally.
Mm-mm. And that's why
She's
we're not
saying-
together anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, she's saying there needs to be family intervention, and that if you have to, call the court, because you can't go to the court right now, but you could call the court. I feel that they do have people, that a court does have people available to talk to people that need help, and that you may have to just get an eviction notice.
Yeah, I'm thinking of writing a letter, but his name's not on anything, so it makes it kind of tricky. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's just very defiant and very oppositional, and so
Yeah.
it's difficult to get him to move on and move out. Yeah,
so you may have to get an eviction notice, is what your mother and grandmother are saying.
Yeah.
that she knows you don't want to do that. You're a nice person. You don't like doing things you don't like to do anything to upset or hurt anybody. But she's saying that for your own healing, that part of your healing process is to let him go. That is part of your healing process, to let him go, to let go of any other people that aren't serving you. That is part of your healing process, and that don't feel bad because that, if you have to get an eviction notice, because this may be the only way to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. It's 4:00 now.
Thank you, Shelley.
Monica and Christine, call me at 562-726-1712, and then I'll connect to your loved ones for you. I'll do a quick medium session with you, since you did not get to. I read Monica. Christine,
Yeah.
call me so I could connect to your loved one. And have a good session, Dean, and call me if you want me to give you some information to get rid of this spirit.
Oh, and Shelley,
Yes,
what's your phone number again? I'll just type it in here.
that's 562-726-1712.
562-726-1712.
Yes,
Okay.
thank
Good
you.
stuff.
And
You're
good luck
welcome.
with your session, Dean.
Thank you. So, okay. So now we're going to do astrology. Today we're going to focus on astrology and ancestral healing. I just wrote a little description and put it in the chat right above what's there at the bottom. And I'm going to be showing you the astrology chart of today and talking about some of the dwarf planets. And you guys have probably never heard of dwarf planets before. Has anybody heard of dwarf planets? Sounds kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. We're looking forward to it.
Huh?
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So when you hear dwarf planets, what does it conjure up for you? Like
Little
a
planet.
planet that's
Here.
what?
Go ahead, Melanie.
No, just little planets, like little dwarf planets.
Yeah, that's true.
Beneath the big planet.
Yeah. When I first heard of dwarf planets, I was thinking the whole planet would be kind of like the Wizard of Oz going to Munchkin Land or something like that. You know,
Or the seven dwarfs.
Snow White and the
Nope.
Wicked Witch and all that. But no. they're-
Dopey. Is there a dopey dwarf planet?
no. There is Pluto, though.
Yeah, because that's a small little planet. Okay.
They made a new rule that all planets have to be named after Disney characters now. But anyway, what it is they've started to discover a bunch of extra celestial bodies that they didn't know about before because we're getting more and more high-powered telescopes and things like that. And so they had to reclassify things and decide, what's a planet and what's an asteroid, and a dwarf planet is kind of in between. And so the largest of the asteroids is called Ceres, and it's actually the same size as Pluto, pretty much. And then there's this new planet called Eris, discovered about 15 years ago, and that's about the same size as Pluto and Ceres, the asteroid. And so what they did is they created this new category called dwarf planets, which are bigger than asteroids and smaller than a full-fledged planet. And also Chiron could be called a dwarf planet, but it could also be called a comet. So anyway, Ceres, which is just one of the asteroids in the asteroid belt, but it's the biggest one, is now called a dwarf planet. And Pluto, which used to be called a planet, is now called a dwarf planet. And Chiron, also recently discovered in 1977, is either a comet or a dwarf planet. It's a very icy, it's like a big giant ice cube in the sky. You know what I mean? But that's the wounded healer, Chiron. So what's going on right now astrologically is this week, one of the biggest cycles that's beginning and ending is Ceres, the dwarf planet, largest of the asteroids, who is known as the fertility goddess. And she's related to reproduction, childbirth, but also the root chakra, which is where we make babies and where childbirth happens, is also, the root chakra goes down to the earth through the legs, and it really connects us to Mother Earth. And so Ceres is one of the kind of Mother Earth, one of the aspects of Mother Earth. And some of the other planets, like Eris that was just discovered, is the sister of Mars, the god of war, and she's kind of a warrior goddess, but she's also an aspect of the Earth Mother also. And so all the asteroids, like Vesta, the Vestal Virgin, or Juno, which is about, she's the wife of Jupiter, it's about being married or being bonded or mating with another person. So they're really all related to fertility and reproduction and childbirth and things like that. But if we look at Ceres as being like the mother, and we really can relate it to all of our ancestors. It's really the roots. And our roots go back very deep through, all of the generations that came before us, all the way back to whenever the beginning was. And so some people think we evolved from single-celled organisms, you know what I mean? So, whatever it is, going back to the Mother Earth. So it happens to be that every 5 years, Ceres lines up with Chiron, and this week is when that cycle comes to an end and a new one begins. This makes it, because Chiron is about healing and Ceres is about the mother or the Mother Earth or our ancestors, this is a great time to do healing, either doing ancestral healing involving our DNA or involving our ancestors, which I know some good techniques for that, which I've mentioned before, but we'll go into more depth today. But it's also a good time to do healing with Mother Earth, you could say. So, coincidentally, I've been going up to the Boynton Canyon Vortex. We were there together, right, Melanie? In October. I think I did a reading for you there, maybe. I'm not sure. Did I do it there?
No.
But you did. I did most of the people I did in Boynton. I don't remember exactly who I did that day, but
I did get a drawing from Christina, and I also had a healing from Juliana. Yeah.
In Boynton Canyon, right?
Boynton, was that the last stop? That was on Sunday, I believe. Yeah. that was with
Christina, probably.
No, Christina was on Saturday. So because
Oh, so you did Juliana on Sunday. Okay,
Yeah.
now I remember. Okay, but whatever the case, since I live here in Sedona now, I've been spending a lot of time in the vortexes, particularly because I just live down the hill from Airport Mesa Vortex, and so I can just walk up there in like 15 minutes. And then but I like to drive out to Boynton because it's a really nice hike. It's a 3.5 mile hike. We didn't go all the way on that. We only just went like 5 minutes into Boynton and we stopped there. But so I've been going further up Boynton, and it's really an amazing place. It's really beautiful, but also the energy is considered by many people to be the root chakra of the world. And now I understand why, because when we do healings up there in Boynton Canyon, it really kind of clears you out all the way from head to toe. It clears you to the root chakra, and it's kind of like almost like a rebirthing experience. At least what I've been experiencing of it. And I've been doing this over the last couple of weeks as this Ceres Chiron alignment has been building up, and I wasn't even paying any attention to that astrology of it, but it's kind of like this is one of the ways that we learn astrology is like, well, what's going on right now? And so I look, oh, Ceres is lining up with Chiron, and I've been going up to Boynton 2 or 3 times a week doing work, getting back into my body and helping other people get back into their body. People that, like, I've been going up there with a lot of people who are kind of out of their bodies, including me, based on, what I went through a couple of years ago and kind of a near-death experience, and then gradually coming back into my body. And being here in Sedona has really, really helped me get back in my body. And
So Dean, when you say you've gone further up, did you go to the Kachina woman, the vortex?
we went up to where we could see her.
Yeah, because that's where I like to go and meditate. Yeah, that's because when we were there, me and Laura walked up there and I showed her, because I've been there a couple times.
Did
But
you go
it's-
all the way to Kachina Woman, or just where you could see her?
Well, I go all the way up and I sit there underneath her and I just meditate and write down what I want to release, do affirmations, and then I feel great when I get back home for like a month. I feel like I really released a lot because it's feminine and the masculine energies. So yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So Kachina Woman is a great example because she's like a Mother Earth goddess herself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's like root chakra energy. Root chakra energy goes like the roots of a tree deep into the earth. And so that's the Kachina Woman would be like, of course she's in Boynton Canyon because that's the root chakra energy. And so that sounds like you went up like almost 3 miles if you got that far,
Yeah, however long it was. Yeah. So it's
yeah, that's a long hike.
yeah.
And so, but anyway, so I'm going to tell you what happened 2 weeks ago. So you guys probably know I've been living in an Airbnb in Sedona for 2 months since Thanksgiving. Hi, Cecile. Good to see you. You're muted, but that's okay.
Hi, Dean.
So we're talking today about the alignment of Ceres, who is the fertility goddess, and she's kind of like the Kachina Woman would be an example, and she's in Boynton Canyon there. But also any Mother Earth, like the Mother Earth image in our mythology or other Mother Earth traditions, they would all have different names. Like Mother Kali is a Mother Earth goddess. And Eris, one of these dwarf planets we're talking about today, is a Mother Earth goddess also. So there's many different aspects of the Mother Earth goddess. And in fact, there's tens of thousands of asteroids that the whole asteroid belt used to be a planet, but it would represent like that fertility goddess energy or Mother Earth energy. And so Boynton Canyon, where I've been hiking a lot lately to get really grounded and get, more into my body, because some of you, probably most of you know that I had a near-death experience a couple of years ago, and I was really out of my body and just had to relearn how to operate in the physical world again 2 years ago, starting from scratch, basically. And this kind of stuff really helps me, and it also helps a lot of other people, because I'm certainly not the only one that's kind of out of body these days. And like Cecile, for example, she prefers hanging out with aliens than humans these days.
Well, not my preference, but that's the way it goes.
She's got an alien boyfriend, I think. Anyway, sorry if I tease you too much, but I love teasing people. So You can tease me back if you want. But anyway, so I might have told some of you this already, but I'll just repeat for people who weren't here listening before. So I went up Boynton with a couple friends of mine, and I was still living in that Airbnb. And I had woken up, or not woken up, but I had had apparently a nightmare while I was at the Airbnb. And Christina, who is sharing the place with me, was in the other room, but I woke her up. I was screaming so loud. And I woke up the lady who owned the Airbnb too. And I didn't even wake myself up, so I didn't even know this had all happened. But she started writing me, it's like, are you guys okay over there? Do you need to go see a doctor? Or it's like, all this, she's like, basically she thought we all had COVID, and that we were crying and screaming and coughing and all this because we were really sick, which was just me having a nightmare apparently. Anyway, but then my friends came over a couple weeks ago on the first, 2 weeks ago, Sunday, I think it was, Saturday night. And they were partying. They came from California, and one of them was microdosing on mushrooms, and they were getting really high and partying kind of in the middle of the night, right next to the door, on the other side of which is the lady who owns the house, who fell asleep on the couch in the living room. So she was hearing, and this woman had smoker's cough. She'd been a smoker her whole adult life and was now coughing all the time. And so she's coughing, and they're laughing hysterically, maybe laughing so hard that they're crying. So then I start getting more messages like, Christina's really sick. She needs to get a COVID test. You guys need to go, or I'm kicking you out. I'm going to call the police. This is like, I was like, I didn't even know what she was talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you talking about? We don't have any symptoms at all. I don't know what you're talking about. But she's like, you're getting kicked out now, or you go get a COVID test. Well, Christina went over there to get it, and they wouldn't give it to her because she doesn't have any symptoms, so no test. And then so I just write the lady back, and I like, when people start getting weird on me, I don't waste a lot of time. I just go, oh, I'm getting an upgrade. Great. You know what I mean? It's time to go. So I just did my thing, my gratitude, like, thank you, archangels, for helping upgrade our living situation right now, because we had one more day, before we had to move now, because, and she got weirder and weirder, this lady. She was then saying, you can't leave. You have to go on lockdown. You have to quarantine yourself. You can't go. Because she didn't want to have to give our money back now, because she had basically evicted us, and then now she didn't want us to leave. So it was all her paranoid schizophrenic, stuff. And then, so finally, both Christina and I just did the gratitude. Thanks for upgrading our living situation. Then Christina went to work at the New Age Center there, the Purple Building, and told the owner of the store, hey, looks like we have to move immediately. Do you know anybody that's got a rental? And she said, oh, that's really weird. Like 15 minutes ago, I got a text that there's a 3-bedroom house. And it turns out it's like on the next street over on the other side of the back fence from us, and down 2 houses. And so we went over to this house where I'm sitting in right now and said, yeah, we'd like to rent it. We liked it, 3-bedroom house. He said, yeah, come up with first, last, and security deposit, and by tomorrow, and it's yours. Well, we had to move by tomorrow anyway, so we just moved in that day. This all happened like instantly. And after I got back from Boynton and did this grounding thing. So what I feel like when you get grounded in the earth, and we did a whole thing of like rebirthing and then sitting next to a tree and totally getting rooted into the earth with the tree's energy. Once you get grounded, all of the stuff that's not grounded in your life, that was a reflection of you not being grounded, disappears. You know what I mean? And so I instantly had to move. You know what I mean? And I don't know if anybody else has had an experience like going up into the vortexes, but I did not only in the vortex, but I did a thing with intention and gratitude for a specific thing, which is to upgrade my living space. So it literally instantly worked. It was like instant manifestation. And so instantly, within 24 hours of this thing, I'm living in a 3-bedroom house. I'm now more or less a resident as opposed to a visitor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, so now I've actually just submitted an ad in the Sedona calendar. So now I'm leading vortex tours where we do astrology readings, healings, and vortex cleansings and groundings and things like that.
Oh, nice.
So, but the thing is, then I was, every week before I do these astrology webinars, I just think, okay, what's the main thing going on right now to talk about in astrology? Like last week, it was the new moon, so I did that. So I said, well, what's the main thing? And so I'm going to share my screen.
I'm
And
so fortunate to be close to Sedona. I wish it was closer so I could just go and do a recharge.
well, it's not even fortunate. I programmed it. I just basically said, thank you for moving me to a great place in Sedona. You know what I mean? So literally, you can manifest anything.
Yeah,
You know,
but the energy there is just amazing. The healing.
It's amazing. So,
Yeah.
so here's the chart of right now. And do you guys see this cursor here?
Nothing yet.
You can't see an astrology chart?
No.
I'll do it again. Okay. Now can you?
Oh yeah, it just popped up.
Okay, so this is Chiron right here. See that? See my cursor?
Yeah.
It looks like a K with a 0. And this is Ceres right here. It looks like a baby bump. And this plus at the bottom or cross at the bottom, cross represents Earth. So it is very, connected to the Earth, Mother Earth energy. But it's Mother Earth fertility, and so the symbol actually looks like a pregnant woman. You know what I mean? And so you see they're lining up together. There's Ceres is moving closer to Chiron. It's about 8 degrees away right now from the Earth's perspective. So as Ceres has been approaching Chiron, which means Chiron means healing and Ceres means Mother Earth, or the root chakra, it literally means I've been going 2 or 3 times a week up to Boynton Canyon, and every single person I take up there is kind of out of their body and needs to be grounded. So if they all need the same thing, and so we, a lot of them were kind of MK Ultra, if you know what that is. I shouldn't even talk about it, but it's like they were, as children, they were brainwashed, molested, given drugs, and turned, they were made into they were being made into multiple personalities, so one of them could be a sex slave or something, or a mercenary soldier fighting wars on the other side of the planet. So these, I get a lot of clients who actually have that level of trauma in their life. You know what I mean? And that's probably one of the most difficult things to heal and clear. And so I just go, okay, first thing, we're going up to Boynton. And that's, first thing is get back in your body. Because when people are in an accident, a near-death experience, like I've had a few times, or sexual abuse, violence, car accidents, whatever, they tend to be in so much pain that they leave their body. And then other entities can start running their body. And in fact, we were talking about this with Shelley just when we started her webinar an hour and some minutes ago. I was the first one she wanted to talk to this time. And she was talking about my mother, who's dying, but she's dementia and she hasn't really been in her body in 4 years. Somebody else is in there and she's on the other side, you know. So it's so many examples, so many people are out of their bodies, and there's somebody else in there who's very nasty and won't let me around. You know what I mean? But I don't want to be around because it's not my mother. She's already on the other side. But there are entities, they might be vampires, reptilians, I don't mean to scare anybody, but I have to deal with this. This is why I know so much about this, is at least half of my family has entities operating their bodies that aren't them. You know what I mean? I was married to one. I'm sure some of you have heard about my second wife. She was killed in a car accident, and 5 days later, something else woke up in her body and started using it. You know what I mean? So this is like, it seems weird, it seems horrible, and guess what? It is horrible. So we should do something about it. So anyway, this is what, because I have this experience, I can help people. So it's called the Wounded Healer. I'm one too. And so with Chiron lining up with Ceres, it's the end of the cycle. It's time to clear out all the ancestral trauma and all the root chakra trauma, which means sexual abuse, for example, is root chakra trauma. And anytime we've left our bodies, whether it was an accident or just died and came back, or physical violence or war could do it. You know, can you imagine being in a war zone? You might just check out of your body. You know what I mean? And so this is a great time to heal that kind of stuff. And as Melanie said, I'm lucky or I created it so that I could. I now live in a place a couple miles from the root chakra energy of Mother. What is she called? The Katrina or the Kachina woman?
Kachina woman. Yeah.
Yeah. So I live near Kachina woman, who's a Mother Earth fertility goddess. I'm assuming, I don't know that much about her, but it seems obvious to me, you know, just from the energy that's there. What?
I'll send you some information later on her.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and I now you've inspired me to take a longer hike, because it is like, you know what, I walked about 2 miles up and 2 miles back, one of the trips I just took, and that was about enough so that, you know, if I had walked all the way to Kachina and back, I would have needed somebody to carry me the second
It's
part.
just a matter of getting up that hill. You know, you've got to get up on the rocks.
Yeah.
You know? So,
But
yeah.
I'm not, I haven't been doing 6 or 7 mile hikes, you know, if ever, you know what I mean? I don't know if I've ever hiked that much in one day. So I have to work my way up to it, but I am working my way up by going up there a couple times a week.
It's
So
not as far as you think, really.
really? Okay. Well, I
I'll
heard
send
it
you
was
more
3.5.
information on it and see. Huh?
Yeah, I'll do it. You know, as soon as the weather gets nicer and I get up earlier in the day, I'm going to do it.
You are going to the left side, right? Because you can go to the right or to the left.
No, yeah. No, I'm going up to where I can see her.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You just
But
got to
the
go
peop-
along this one path that will take you up the rocks.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you can see the basket of rocks as you're going to kind of help guide you up, but it's just a matter of climbing up the rock.
Yeah, no,
it's
I won't
well
have any trouble. I'm sure I can find it. It's just I haven't gone that far yet, but I
Yeah.
plan to. So anyway, so what I found is by doing a grounding or healing process in a place like that, it's so powerful that it literally catapulted me out of my living situation and upgraded me to something 10 times better. And then when she was getting so weird and she was being so bizarre, I actually was talking to a woman who lives in India, and she's a psychic, and she was reading the situation, and she goes, that's a reptilian portal, that house you were in, and that woman is the gatekeeper. Kind of like, remember Ghostbusters? It's like the gatekeeper for the ghosts, you know what I mean? And so I'm so glad to be out of there.
Well, it's good he got out of there, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to hear from anybody else if you have any comments or questions, or if anybody else notices lately that there's a lot of either healing of the root chakra going on, or healing of relationships with parents or children, or healing of getting more grounded, or the issue of needing to be grounded, or having to get people out of your life that are messing up your chakras. Like, for example, I imagine it could be healing relationships with our parents would be one thing, but also any relationships that you've had with people, particularly if you had children with them. You know what I mean? Because it's related to the fertility issue and the giving birth issue. And in your case, Cecile, it might be related to these aliens that are around you. But I was wondering if you had anything to say about this,
Yeah.
Cecile.
Actually, about I'd say about 5 days ago, I had in fact, it was the day last week. It was last Tuesday after the last session of the day, with the Maitreya stuff. I did the transmission meditation. Are you familiar with that?
I know about it. I haven't ever done that version of meditation.
Well, I did it, and I read it. It's a very simple one, but it's real powerful. I read it once, and for some reason I doubled up on it. I read it twice. Okay, I read it twice. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but I read it twice. You're supposed to do it with 3 people, but you can do it alone. And when I went to bed, it was almost like something knocked me over. There was such a powerful transmission that night that lasted. I'm going to say it lasted until 3:30 in the morning, and it was so powerful that it was like it was making me sweat. It was pretty all-consuming. And then I was sick for 3 days. Sick, nauseous, my head hurting, my third eye, in the back of my head, my ears, everything was hurting. And I was so nauseous for 3 days, and then all of a sudden it went away. So whatever that was, I felt like that was some kind of, well, it was a transmission. And I don't know. I think it's yet to be seen, what the end result of it's going to be. I'll tell you though, I'm kind of staying away from transmissions right now because of that one. And then last night, what was interesting is I had this dream about my ex-boyfriend, my last one, and I thought he was like gone. It's been 20 years. And in my dream, what was interesting is I said, "No, you don't know how to love," and I left him. And I can't believe I actually was able to do that. So that was like a letting go that I didn't even know I needed to do, even from a dream level or some soul level. Anyway, that's what happened to me. So it's been actually a pretty powerful week. Yeah, I get these crystal beings that seem to be coming in through my my crystals. So I have that going on too, and I'm waiting to see what happens with that.
So
A lot of stuff going on.
yeah, well, I would think because you're dealing with these aliens that are trying to, have relationships with you, that this could be a good time to heal your root chakra. You know what I mean? You're cut your cords to those people, those aliens, and
Yes, and I've done a lot of like symbolic things to do that. Whether I've done enough, who knows? I mean, there's so many layers. But I do keep working on that. I think the first 3 chakras are, those are the ones that have all the gunk in them from living. And so I am, working on them as much as I can, and I'm also working on other stuff. And I wanted to ask you, Dean, I just came into contact with this today, and this was kind of interesting to me. That there's in the, we'll say in the Madame Blavatsky is the first one that mentioned this, but there's some kind of new numerology that's based on 12 instead of 9. And what's interesting is that I haven't actually seen the concepts around it, but what I got was that you need your date of birth and the information on your birth certificate, like where you're born. So I thought, wait a minute, that's astrology. That's astrology, and here you are. You've got this new concept, and I just wondered if you had actually in your transition to your PhD level stuff. Are you working with that Madame Blavatsky kind of numerology concept, whatever it is, in what you're doing?
I'm going to show you what I do to be real clear, because I did study Madame Blavatsky, like in my 20s, but I studied numerology before I studied astrology, and I studied all of that Blavatsky. In Tibetan Buddhism, I actually learned where to go with all this from my Tibetan Buddhist teacher, who also had studied with Alice Bailey and H.P. Blavatsky and all those people. But what I do, and here I'm going to just spotlight this, is a combination of numerology, astrology, sacred geometry, and the chakras and dimensions of the body. So this I downloaded, and it includes like all my training, but it really was kind of pulling it all together so that it's like everything is mirroring everything else. And a lot of people most of the astrology and numerology and things that we've been using haven't changed that much since the Middle Ages. And a lot of things came together in Alexandria, Egypt, even before that. A lot of things came together in places like Europe and England in the Middle Ages. But over the last several centuries, they didn't really change very much. And there's a lot of, even now, astrologers who do what they do not very differently than they would have been done in the Dark Ages. You know what I mean? And now there's like brighter people coming into the world. Like my background being mathematics and geometry and things like that. I had a sophisticated background so I could understand the mathematical part of this. And so I could see all the connections between everything. So I kind of created my own upgrade of the system. And this person you're talking about has created their own version of it also. And it's like things are opening up where we can kind of advance where not much advancement really happened for like 500 years. And now there's a lot of new applications and new ways of looking at it. And I'm looking mainly at how to use astrology for healing. And when I do the work, for example, in the Vortex, I'm looking at people's astrology charts and then working with their chakras hands-on to clear the blocks in the Vortex so it amplifies it and goes right down to the root and clears out past life karma and stuff. So each of us, is developing our own set of tools that we use. And I'm not likely to adopt a 12. I have a 12 thing here, actually, if you look at it.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking you, because I was thinking it's really kind of funny. I connected it right up to what you're doing because it was, birth information, and, looking at 12 and I remembered this and I said, well, sure sounds like it's kind of a
Yeah, send me a link so I can see if there's any other connections. Because what I experience, for example, when I download things is like, it's kind of an aha experience, like, oh my God, The planets are the chakras, and they're the dimensions, and they're the numbers, and they're everything. It's all exactly, it's just so elegantly perfect in the way everything is an exact mirror of everything else. So that your eyes are a mirror of your whole body, your hands are a mirror of your whole life. So are your feet, so is everything else. In fact, the symbols of the planets look like the body parts that they correspond with. You know what I mean? So, like the sun is a circle with a dot in the middle. You know what I mean? And that's the eyes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, everything is perfect. But everybody's kind of just downloading this stuff because nobody was teaching it to me because it wasn't available. But after, like, I realized the planets were the chakras, then I read Jose Arguelles' book, The Mayan Factor, and he had on page 121 this diagram, and I met Jose, and I think I even asked him, like, well, what about that picture of the solar body? He goes, well, I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't write about it. He just stuck the picture in the middle of the book. And it was meant there for me to see, apparently, because when I saw it, I go, oh, I downloaded from the same place the Mayans did. You know what I mean? Or maybe I was Mayan in my past life. But this knowledge was just this diagram, but no explanation. You know what I mean? But to me, it's actually self-evident that the planets are the chakras now. It's like once you know, you can't not know it anymore because it's so obvious. So I'm just curious. I would like to see this person's 12-fold numerology just to see if is it she? I think you said she.
She, yeah. And actually, I haven't found any written documentation yet about it. It's, have you heard of the Planetary Ascension team? Any of that? I guess not.
I have to tell you that I pay almost no attention to what anybody else is doing.
Oh yeah. And
You know what
I'm
I
just
mean?
trying to
It's
find out who I
confusing.
am. So I'm seeking
Yeah, you're
and I'm
studying a lot
finding
of different things.
amazing stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of blows my mind away, what's happening.
Yeah. I tend to download stuff myself, although usually I'll read a book and there'll be like one line in there that just opens up a whole new doorway that I hadn't thought of before. Like, for example, I didn't know that the sun was the third eye for the first 10 or 15 years of doing astrology. And I'll show you this. It's on this diagram you can see right now. And it's also, I'm going to stick it in here in my drawing. So you can see the sun images, it's the third eye there. You see that? And it's really obvious that the sun is where light comes in, and we see a visual field is the sun, right? However, in medieval astrology, the sun is the heart chakra. And then you go, well, where would you put Venus? Venus is love, you know what I mean? Well, Venus was the genitals in medieval astrology. Like, well, then what do you do with Mars? You know what I mean? I mean, the symbol of Mars looks like an erection. Of course, that should be there, you know what I mean? But they had it all mixed up. The medieval associations was totally mixed up. And that so you get really confused if you study things just based on medieval systems, because they were really mixed up. And they didn't know any of the stuff like we're talking about right now. And how did I learn this? How did I develop this system? It's usually just one thing that somebody tells me. So my Tibetan Buddhist teacher, who I studied with for 8 years and learned all about Buddhist meditation and things of that nature, one day she just said, oh, by the way, since you're an astrologer, the sun is the third eye. I go, that makes sense. Okay. And then I'm a polarity therapist, so I'm working on people and I'm going, well, obviously Mercury would be the throat and Venus would be the heart, and those are the natural order. So what happens if I just keep going and put Earth and the moon at your belly. Well, the moon is nourishment, so that makes sense. And then Mars, which again, the symbol looks like an erection. So, well, of course, that would be the second chakra there. And then the asteroids are all about fertility and mating and making babies and childbirth. Okay, that's the root chakra. So it's just like, I just needed the one piece to get me started. And you're probably going through that experience yourself with reading all these different things, as you're just getting little gems here and there and making a little mosaic out of it, And so
Yeah,
I
in
think-
fact, over the Christmas holiday, my daughter was with me, and she has this deck of archetype cards. Now, it blew me away that she was even doing something like that, and we drew it, and there was one called Anima Mundi, which is heaven and earth. It's like it's the cosmos, it's everything. And we had done 3 questions, and it was like let go. Well, the first one was let go of. Then it was what am I now? And then it's the future. And so the first one was Anima Mundi, and I thought, oh my God, everything I've already done, I'm supposed to let go of it. And it really hurt me so much that I had to let go of it. But at the same time, I said, I'm going to trust that I drew this card and it means something because I'm on purpose and I believe it. And when I went to bed, I had this closed my eyes. I had this vision of this web that was like rainbow colored, and it was connecting me up to the heavens, and it all dissolved. And when it dissolved, the being, the alien that was like holding me on the front, let go. And it was like in horror, like I did something to dissolve the connection to me. It was interesting.
That's great.
It was very
Awesome.
interesting. Yeah. Yes. So yeah.
So do you know where that was? That a heart chakra cord or a root chakra cord, or do you have any idea?
It could have been. I thought it was the throat because I think they were holding. I think this one was holding me.
Oh, because they talk to you.
Oh yes, they do. They talk to me constantly, 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Do you also? I think you told me they were also like sleeping with you, having sex with you, or things like that.
Oh yeah, during phases of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And last night they did something new. They brought in, and I could sense the being. They brought in because I had looked up pictures of what alien beings look like. I found something on the web on someone that has drawn images and whatever, pictures of them. And so I was just looking at them. I have to be careful what I look at. I really do. But last night I had this image that they brought in a really big reptilian, and the reptilian was standing, and they said to me, "Don't say anything, Cecile, don't say anything." And so I didn't at first. Okay, I didn't, like I was in danger, right? And so at first I didn't. And then I said, no, I don't know who you are, but, I have some rules in my house. And, my rule is can't be in my bedroom. And, if you're not at the light, then you're not welcome here. But if you stand outside, we can talk. So I was just kind of friendly. I wasn't, I will never like try to show power where like I'm aggressive with anyone. I will not do that. And I think that's what my game has been, is that I have respect in me for whoever it is. And while I respect, I expect mutual respect. And somehow it's worked. It's saved my life many times in the last year. So the being left, but that was kind of an interesting that never happened before.
Well, it's interesting to me that we're both getting rid of reptilians. Like I moved out of a reptilian house, and you're like kicking reptilians out of your bedroom or whatever, wherever they are. And you know how they have those signs you can put on your door that you can buy at a store they're cute, like
keep out,
like no dogs allowed, or shirts and shoes required, or you know what I mean? Like you need to get a sign on your door, no reptilians. You know what I mean? Or reptilians will be eaten on, instantly by my dog, or whatever you have one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this clearing of the root chakras is going to get rid of a lot of reptilians, because reptilians are animals that live in the earth. And I believe the reptilians are underground. And that's why we don't see them that much, because they're underground like snakes. And when I had that nightmare, apparently, where I was being strangled by snakes, I started to think that maybe my neighbor or this entity, the reptilians underground, that house is a portal to, it was those reptilians, which snakes are reptiles, were trying to strangle me. You know what I mean? And they did end up getting rid of me. You know what I mean? Because I did leave.
You know what though? As far as getting rid of you goes, I think that one of the things about where we are right now is that while we're in this third dimension, right? The first chakra is connected to the earth. It's our earth connection. And so the first three chakras are the chakras of being embodied in, in earth and all of our purpose on, being alive here. And that as we move up, when we move up into the fifth dimension, then we'll be in the, I think it's more like we're going to be in unconditional love coming from the heart. And so it's like the first three chakras need to get cleaned out, cleared out, neutralized, we'll say. When you did your experience to the fifth dimension, did you feel, like you said, the experience with your mother was more like neutral? You don't feel anything. Did you neutralize? Do you think you neutralized your first three chakra experiences?
Yes. I mean, your relationship with your mother is a first chakra experience. You give birth in the first chakra, and it has to do with the asteroids, which are Vesta, which is sexual attraction or initiation into sexuality. Juno, which is partnering or mating, marrying, union with a partner. Pallas Athena is like the goddess of art and culture. She's actually, art is something we co-create. It's in the context of a culture. And so, or making babies is a co-creation process that occurs in the root chakra. And then childbirth series is root chakra. All the asteroids, I believe, are having to do with reproduction. And so the clearing the root chakra is also related to the, like I was even just saying, is like healing our relationship with our mothers and children. Would it be appropriate right now? And there are ways to do it, like going into these powerful vortexes and then doing some intentional work, expressing gratitude. Thank you for helping me cut all the cords to my ancestors that no longer serve me, and then just narrowing it down to those ancestors that are helping me, guiding me, my spirit guides and things like that. That would be a good one to do. And just clearing all our relationships with not only our mothers and fathers, but our ancient roots, which are the reptiles. They're probably our ancestors. You know what I mean? We are a hybrid race of reptiles and other alien species and other earthly species. But I believe the earthly species were actually, the universe is teeming with life, and it's on asteroids that are flying around or comets that are flying around. And so things are constantly colliding with other things, and life is spreading all over the universe. And shouldn't be surprising that there are life forms in other galaxies and that they're actually similar to ours. Just like, although there are many species on this planet, they are similar to us. They have eyes and mouths and noses and ears and faces and legs and arms. And, you know what I mean? Some of them fly, some of them swim, whatever, but so do we. You know what I mean? And so these are these reptilians that we're clearing are probably ancestors in a sense. You know, we're related to them. They're in our DNA. And just like we have a reptilian brain. So this is a good time to clear out. And in fact, Chiron is a symbol that is like a deity that shapeshifted, Saturn shapeshifted and mated with a horse. And then the result was Chiron, half god, half horse, who symbolizes evolution and healing, wounding and healing. What is evolution but mutations that happen because of exposure to toxins or radiation? And then it changes the DNA, and some of those changes are actually improvements. So evolution. And so we're going through rapid evolution right now. And so of course we have to confront our deep past, which is our reptilian ancestors. And those are our, you know, great, say it a million times, ancestors, you know, grandparents. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, some people are more reptilian than others, you know, a little closer to that. And some people, like I've said, get possessed by entities, like they have an accident or a sexual abuse or near-death experience, leave their body, and some reptilian goes, yippee, I get to play around in this body for a while. And so it's time to like clear them out and get back into our bodies. And before we run out of time, because I only have 5 minutes, it's 5:55 for all you 5 fans.
Can I ask you something? I know you're limited in time.
Sure.
Because you're talking about ancestral healing, and when Christina did that picture for me, she was talking about like family past karma. And I've been told too, I have ancestral like karma. So what is the best way to deal with that? Like to rid of that, or not to be attached to that,
Okay. So to me, the best way is to, I mean, let me see if I can get your astrology chart, because it makes it a lot easier. What's your last
I'm
name?
always told like it's on my the paternal side, and then yeah, she was talking about bowing to the man, but
What's your last name, Melanie? I want to look at your chart while you're
Shaw, SHAW.
There you are. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Because if it could, is this the whole month? Is with those two lined up? Is it for the whole month of February?
Yeah, I mean, it's not following a calendar month, but I'm going to show you maybe before I look at your chart, since you've now asked a different question. I'm going to show, because I wanted to, that's where I was going to go right now anyway. So let me do that. This is the heliocentric chart. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And you see 2 brown lines and 2 green lines. It's kind of symmetrical. Look at that. So this is from the sun's perspective, which means that's the non-distorted, like the Earth position, it goes around the sun, so everything's kind of going back and forth. But things actually go around the sun in a more or less of a circle, and they don't go backwards and forwards. So this is the less distorted view. Ceres is at 8 Aries from the sun's perspective, and Chiron is at 8 Aries. Ceres is moving faster, and it's got 18 seconds more to go, or 18 minutes more to go. These are degrees, and then 60ths of a degree are called minutes. And 18, well, Ceres is going how fast? 12 a day, and Chiron's going 1, so 11 a day. So it's going to progress. It only needs to progress 18 more, and 2 days from now it will have progressed 22. So in other words, on the 18th, on Thursday, Ceres and Chiron are going to exactly align from the sun's perspective, which means the cycle from the consciousness perspective, like we're becoming aware of it, that the cycle is ending about 2 days from now, of a 5-year cycle that will be over in 2 days. And that is, so that's why I'm doing it now, is because, that's why I'm talking about it now, is because it is the end of the cycle this week. But from the Earth's perspective, which is going around in between, you know, the sun and those other celestial bodies, it looks kind of like it goes forward and backwards a bit, and it has some catching up to do over the rest of this month. I would say the next 30 days. So on a physical level, the ancestral healing will complete in about a month. But it's already happening in our mind right now, because like we're talking about it, and it's going to finish in 2 days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that works. So this is the time, and funny, if you were there at the beginning of Shelley's talk, I'm going to just stop sharing the screen for a second. She immediately, I don't know if you were there, she immediately wanted to talk to me about my mother and about my grandmother. She was literally going into my Ceres lineage and talking about how they had a really huge problem also around childbirth. My grandmother, when my mother met my father during World War II, they weren't married, but they got pregnant. But my grandmother forced them to have an abortion. And my mother was always traumatized by that. That kid was probably me the first time I tried to get in here. And so there's all this trauma between all the parent-child relationships, including between my mother and me, who aborted me once and then tried to get rid of me immediately when I was born. And then her relationship with her mother, it was all messed up. And so Shelley went right into trying to say, oh, well, your grandmother and your mother are getting along just fine in heaven, and she's helping her, and they're making up. And so there's all this healing of the maternal lineage actually going on for 3 or 4 generations in my family right now. And for you, Michelle, what we're talking about is Ceres is lining up with Chiron this week. Ceres is the Mother Earth goddess, the fertility goddess, Chiron, the wounded healer. So spontaneously, there's all this healing going on in our root chakras, in our childbirth issues, in our ancestors, including our ancient reptilian ancestors, which Cecile and I are also getting rid of. So the reptilians in our lives. So anyway, we are out of time. So Melanie, we can come back to that.
Yeah, I can ask you again next time.
Yeah, but anyway, so it is time for ancestral healing and healing of our relationships with our parents and our healing of our births, our birth trauma, healing of Mother Earth, or healing with Mother Earth as one of the agents of healing. And so when I was doing the healing work up in the vortex, the Boynton Canyon root chakra vortex, I was literally asking people to kind of, sit next to a tree, kind of get into the earth energy and get into the womb and have a rebirthing experience, clear out all the old stuff, and rebirth yourself in Mother Earth. You know what I mean? And so I didn't even really focus on the astrology. I didn't really notice that Chiron and Ceres were aligning up until a couple of days ago. After all this stuff had happened, I go, oh, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's time to clear the ancestral karma. But anyway, I'm going to turn things over to Michelle whenever you're ready, Michelle.
I'm ready, but if you want to answer Mal's question, I'm fine. If you want to take some time to do that, that's
okay.
Not a problem.
All right, so I'm going to go back to Melanie's chart here.
Would
And
that
Melanie-
also go with because I have my sister and I have been estranged for many years. But I mean, I'm sure it's all connected, like living relatives too. You need,
Yeah, and you both have the same mother, and you've
yeah.
got. And in my family, my older sister, because my actual mother was pushing me away so much because of all that generations of pain and stuff, and the fact that my mother actually aborted me the first time I tried to come in at the insistence of my grandmother, who are now united in heaven according to Shelley, and they're healing their relationship, so which is totally aligned with this thing. But anyway, so what was your question, Melanie? About, I've got your chart right here.
Because well, when Christina did my picture in Sedona, it was all family, dealing with family, and then she was talking about past family karma, especially on my dad's side, and she was talking about bowing to the man. I'm not sure what that means, but like, to clear that karma, but that was her suggestion. But I've also been told by other people, on your paternal, side or dad's side, you have this ancestral like connection of karma and just things that need to be cleared, So it's just like is it about grounding to clear that, or what's the best way to clear that karma and that, that connection?
Cool. Okay, good question. And interestingly, this is the transit, and just make note that you just recently had your Chiron return, which happens to everybody when they're about 50 something, early 50s. But
Okay, yeah.
51, typically Chiron has come all the way around. It was here, 26 Pisces, when you were born. It came all the way around when you were about 51, and now it's moving into Aries here. But Chiron is also right now being transited by none other than Ceres right now, which is the mother energy. So this is about healing the mother energy in you right now. That wasn't there when Christina worked on you, but I'm just showing you this is very active right now. Vesta today is at 18 Virgo, going over your Ceres at 18 Virgo. So there's a lot of stuff around Ceres in your chart right now. But I'm just going to show you your chart by itself without today's transits. And when you were born, Chiron was opposite Pluto and Uranus and the moon. So that's the core wound, is related to Pluto and Uranus. Uranus is kind of freedom or inspiration. Pluto is your most powerful self, your higher self, your relation to the gods and goddesses and angels and your higher self. It's your power. So Uranus conjunct Pluto, which happened in the 60s, and so everybody born in the 60s has this, which is spiritual liberation or liberation of your power, claiming your power back. Your core wound, being Chiron here, opposite that, Uranus, Pluto, and the moon is part of it too, has to do with reclaiming your power, free spiritual liberation, and it's conjunct Ceres, as I said, from your lineage. You know what I mean? From your parent. And so there's often with Chiron and Pluto also, and this was the Vietnam War going on while Chiron and Pluto were opposite. It was the 60s. And everybody in the 60s was either killing people or, committing genocide or being a victim of genocide or protesting the war or becoming a hippie, like me, growing your hair long, becoming a hippie and taking a lot of psychedelics and things like that. But I had a fun decade, but not everybody did. And so But anyway, it was all about reclaiming our power. It's like, hell no, we won't go was the motto of, I was draftable at age 18 in 1970. You know what I mean? And they did a lottery and I got number 363. Hallelujah! Because they only drafted like the first 150 numbers or so.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
jeez. Yeah.
And so that was kind of what that, but it was about reclaiming our power. Like in those days before the Vietnam War, it's like, oh, somebody wants to have a war. And what was that war about? They never told anybody. That was the heroin trade in those days, was coming out of Vietnam and Southeast Asia. And so we needed control of the heroin. So all of those people that died on either side of that equation died so that we could make a lot of money for the CIA and everybody else so that we could get everybody addicted to heroin. Well, guess what Afghanistan is about? The reason the Taliban are the bad guys is because they're fundamentalists and they won't let the farmers grow poppies. And so I hate to break anybody's bubble who thinks that we're the good guys in Afghanistan, but we're the ones making sure, and why we're still there 20 years later. Why is this the longest war? Because as soon as we leave, the Taliban are going to shut down the heroin and not allow the farmers are going to go back to growing corn or whatever they grow, which doesn't make very much money. So this is what most wars are about, heroin. But anyway, those of us who were fighting the war in the 60s were protesting, and I started riots as early as junior high school when I was like 14 with my girlfriend. We would just start riots, and we did everything. We reclaimed our power. We said, you guys cannot tell us what to do. We were throwing our food at the principal and vice principal, you know what I mean, and ruining their day. So we were reclaiming our power. We do not have to go kill people so you can grow poppies and ship heroin around the world. We're not going to do it. We didn't know that it was that detail about it, but we were reclaiming our power. You were born in the middle of that, and it's about same as everybody, reclaiming our power from our elders who were doing really stupid things. You know what I mean? That's the series part. Our ancestors, and the power is the Pluto, and Uranus is freedom. So that's why the 60s was all about freedom. You know what I mean? And power. Who's got the power? Liberation, spiritual liberation. Ultimately, when I was in the same exact year, what's his name? Maharishi Mahesh Yogi came to my high school, and I actually touched him as he walked by through the crowd, and so I got like blessed into the spiritual movement at the age of 18 by the Beatles and Donovan and Mia Farrow's guru, who, kind of started things off in the 60s. Same, you were 3 years old that year. So that was all about spiritual liberation. That movement also started and spread across the globe. It's about spiritual liberation, reclaiming our power over, our own destiny. And we're still doing it right now. Yep. And anyway, so that's what's going on in your chart. And these are the points to do a healing. If you remind me next week, we could do some healing work on that and stuff. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Because it involves the crown chakra, the root chakra, the back of the neck, and the back of the heart. So those are, you can see in the diagram next to me, those are the positions of, let me see here, Pluto conjunct Uranus is the crown chakra and the back of the neck, but it's opposite Chiron, so you got to get to the back of the heart. And it's also Ceres, which right now is lining up with Chiron, so it's like healing of the ancestor energy right now. But then it was about Pluto and Uranus is what liberating or, reclaiming our power from our own parents. And it was really a huge generational divide in the 60s. The people that were doing business that needed to have wars to, make money, and the people that were being sacrificed, by being drafted. We haven't had a draft. They got rid of the draft shortly after that. You know what I mean? Which was a big deal. Now you have to brainwash people to join a war.
To sell their soul, as I say.
Not that there wasn't any brainwashing going on at that. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay, thank you.
so what about you, Michelle?
Can you recap for me, like what's going on with the planets? I get that it's healing ancestral lineage, and I think that it's on the maternal line. Is it on the maternal line for everybody?
Well, it is primarily the maternal line, and I'll show you why. I'll share my screen. So what it is that the planet, the theme today is the dwarf planets, which are the little tiny planets that are kind of in between asteroids and planets. And those include Ceres, the largest of the asteroids, is now considered a dwarf planet. She's the same size as Pluto, which used to be called a planet, but he was demoted to dwarf planet, and Ceres was upgraded from asteroid. And they're really the same size. And so, but anyway, Chiron, also about the same size, is lined up with Ceres right here. Can you see in the chart?
Yeah.
And what that means is Ceres represents the fertility goddess. She's the root chakra. That's where babies get made. That's fertility. And that represents reproduction, childbirth, etc. But she also represents the mother. But I also think she's the Mother Earth. She's the fertility goddess of, like agriculture and things like that. And so with Ceres lining up with Chiron, what I've noticed, because when I got on the webinar with Shelley an hour or 2 hours ago, she first wanted to talk to me before the other people, because she said, your mother is with your grandmother on the other side, and my mother technically is considered alive, but she's not in her body. Some nasty entity is. And she's really on the other side with her mother. And there was a terrible conflict between them in life. They didn't my mother did not like my grandmother. And I think a lot of it was because when my mother and father met during World War II, she got pregnant before they were married, and this was in the 40s. This was very taboo. So the grandmother, my grandmother, forbade them from having the baby and forced her to have an abortion. That baby was very likely me. So we're doing all this healing of all this rejection and murder and being killed and sacrificed. You know what I mean? And on the other side, my mother is really there, and something else is in my body. And my mother apparently is healing her relationship with her mother, and is being helped into heaven and into the family of ancestors over there. It's probably a big deal because my mother's an atheist. You know what I mean? But she really likes it over there. Every time when she was still talking in English, she would say how much she loved it over there. Could she go home? It's so beautiful. Everybody's so nice to her. She was just begging to go home. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on. My mother, who still has a body here being used by somebody else, is on the other side with my grandmother, and they're healing their relationship. So that's good news, because that actually is how ancestral healing is done, is you want to get all the ancestors healed with each other. And so I do it. Evelyn Mae Foster loves George Dean Price, and George Dean Price feels her love. George Price loves Evelyn Foster and she feels his love. And then Evelyn Foster loves Dean Price, so we put me in there, and I feel her love, and I love her, and she feels my love, and my father loves me, and I feel that, and I love him, and he feels that. So you just make the father, the mother, and the child all love each other and feel each other's love. And then you go back a generation. So what's going on in heaven right now is Grace Walls, my mother's mother, loves Evelyn Foster, and she feels that love. And Evelyn Foster loves Grace Walls, and Grace feels Evelyn's love. And they, and then it gets complicated because then in my family, they get a divorce. Well, Grace loves Bob Foster. Well, actually, Bob Foster, after having my mother, they got a divorce and he married Grace's sister, Florence.
Mhm.
And then go back another generation, and one of the grandfathers or one of the grandmothers divorced the grandfather and married the brother. And so everybody's like, I come from a hillbilly family, you could say, where it goes back to Arkansas. And so they're all loving each other and their sister and their brother.
So there's no shortage of love in your ancestral lineage. This is
Yeah. So what you do is you straighten all those relationships out. You know what I mean? So that everybody's not mad at each other and nobody's forcing each other to abort me in a past life and blah, blah, blah. And then you change that all into loving relationships. And what happens is it changes your life. Everything heals. Everything's fixed. You know what I mean? And they've even done this, like the more that you're a baby when you do this, the easier, because you haven't solidified yet. And so my friend Denny Johnson, who also invented the Rayid method of eye interpretation, so some people have heard of that, but he taught me this, where he would go into hospitals where they had babies that were so not even recognizable as humans, and he would sit next to them, get all the ancestors' names, and just tell the babies that all their ancestors, all the partners love each other and feel it, and they all love their children and they feel it, and they all love their parents and they feel it. And he would go back 4 generations, and this baby, I don't know what you call them, these are the ones they would just pull the plugs on, you know what I mean? And they would become normal children after doing this.
Wow, that's incredible.
Do you have to
Yeah.
like know the names of everyone? And
No, I mean, if you can get your genealogy done and get as many names as you can, then it's a little more direct and, pinpoint. But you could just make up, like my mother's mother's father's mother or something like that, and
okay.
you have to write it down and read it to be able to keep up with it. It's confusing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you can draw your family tree and then just where you don't know, you just say mother's mother's father's mother or something like that. And go back 4 generations. And the best way to do it is if you have a baby in the family or the youngest child in the family, is tell it to them, even if they don't understand, talk to them because they're the most open to change and it affects the rest of the family.
Wow.
I'm estranged from my sister and her kids, and I know a lot of them, my nieces have been having kids. So there are youngsters now. I haven't met them yet, but is that what you're meaning? Like,
yeah, if you can
newest
talk to
ones
those
in the
kids,
family?
it would probably actually heal those estranged relationships too, because you probably have a lot of ancestors who are estranged from family members also.
Yeah, it happened with my dad and his family for many years. And
just a
yeah,
family
so it seems to be a pattern.
Yeah, and so what you're doing is you're not saying, oh, my father and uncle hated each other or whatever. You don't say that. You say they love each other. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. How
And-
about like with the ones living, like my sister, like,
Yeah, you can do it with an adult. However, because the babies and the children are in alpha or delta or theta state of consciousness, so it's real easy to reprogram them.
I know their
So-
names, but do I have to have met them, or can I just go by their names and,
You don't have to have met them.
okay,
A lot of them are long gone.
well, I mean, the ones that are the new kids now in the family, my niece.
What I would do,
kid.
I would get a picture of them.
Okay,
and
yeah, I've seen
talk-
pictures.
Just like we work on each other on Zoom, just looking at each other, and sometimes I actually put my hands on your image on the Zoom when I'm working on people.
Okay,
You can actually give somebody a massage by massaging a picture of them,
Oh.
and it will help them. I know. You think they'll pay for it? I don't know, but you can do it.
interesting, yeah.
This is all a dream world. We can do whatever we like. That's why whenever the first question everybody always asks me is, does it need to be my right hand or my left hand? Because that's their first question. Like I say, you can do whatever you like. It doesn't matter. I'm just making this stuff up. You know what I mean? We make
So
everything.
what would I say then to the youngest child? I believe 1 year old now or 2 years old. Would I just
Perfect. That's an awesome age. So you would just say, well, you know the names of their parents, and you would
Yeah.
start with, what's their mother and father's name?
Jolly, that's my niece, Jolly and Sarah, my two nieces.
Jolly and Sarah, and what are their parents' names?
You mean Sarah's,
Sarah's mother and father.
well, that's my sister, Bonnie and Ollie.
Okay, so Bonnie loves Ollie. Ollie feels Bonnie's love. Ollie loves Bonnie, or did I say it wrong? Oh. I'm confused already, but Ollie loves Bonnie. Bonnie loves Ollie. They both feel each other's love. And Bonnie and Ollie love, what's the kids' names?
Well, my niece, Jolly and Sarah,
Jolly. Okay, Bonnie and Ollie love Jolly and Sarah, and they feel their love. And Jolly and Sarah love Bonnie and Ollie, and they feel their children's love. So that's just triangulating that one family. And then you go up another generation and you do the same thing. Does that make sense?
okay, and then the kids, I'm not sure
Well, let's just do it with you. What's your mother and father's name?
John and Joan.
John and Joan?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really simple. John loves Joan. Joan feels the love. Joan loves John. John feels Joan's love. John loves Melanie. Melanie feels John's love. Melanie loves John. John feels Melanie's love. Joan loves Melanie. Melanie feels Joan's love. Melanie loves Joan. Joan feels Melanie's love. Okay?
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple. And then just with the intention, of course, of love and
You just establish loving relationships between all the couples, their children, and parents. And that they feel it. Because sometimes somebody loves somebody, but the other person doesn't feel that. You know what I mean? So you gotta, they love them and they feel the love. You know what I
so
mean?
like my sister who I'm estranged from, who I feel has a lot of just bad feelings towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do send her love and light and pray for her. That's all I can do. But like, is there a way of making her softer by just doing something like that? Like,
Do the same thing and
she
get a
loves
picture.
me
of
even
her.
though she really is not nice to me, but
This whole thing is based on making a different reality than the one that created your DNA.
Okay, so putting forth the intention, because I feel like she's had issues with me all my life, not just when my parents died, but all my
Don't
life.
even say it. Stop saying it and say,
Yeah.
my sister has loved me all of my life, and I have felt love. And I love her, and she feels my love, and then go to other family members.
Okay, all right. I should be doing that daily with my sister to change her heart.
And now,
Okay.
the other issue that I was starting to talk about was the more that the recipient of the hearing this is in alpha, delta, or theta, the more powerful it is. So it's easier to do on the baby of the family than on an adult. If you're doing an adult and they're there, get them into as deep a state as possible by frequencies, music, relaxing herbs, things, whatever, chamomile or whatever you take for relaxing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not sedatives or chemicals or anything like that, but
Okay, so by doing all this, and that should reset any past generational ancestry, right?
worth a try. It's easier to do with children,
Yeah.
but it affects all the other relationships. So the easiest way to do it is directly talking to the child or talking to the child's picture.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's what I would do is, or get pictures of lots of them and put them all, make an altar with pictures of your family members that you have pictures of,
Yeah.
and then talk to all of them. Talk to all their pictures.
In one shot. Yeah. Okay.
It reminds me, has anybody, and I'm sure you have, seen those altars for Dia de los Muertos?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're so beautiful, right?
I put up my own altar during that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. If you could make an altar that has your ancestors more than just the one, you know what I mean? An altar to the ancestors. It's like, it's another way of reinforcing it. It's like honoring them, giving them, those altars are so loving. They're so beautiful. They're just expressing the love energy of that person.
Mhm.
And so the more that you create and build up, just like what you've got right behind you, it's so funny we're talking about this. You actually have a love altar behind you right now.
Yeah. My Valentine's Day decoration. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're doing it. That kind
I
of
put
thing.
hearts, yeah, because it's all about love. Got to put that love vibration.
It's perfect that we're doing this Valentine's week. You know what I mean? So it's a healing technique. It's an ancestral healing technique that involves love.
Okay. Is it better to be like in a meditative state with all that?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying is the more
Okay.
you can get into alpha, delta, or theta, the more it will work,
Mhm. Okay.
you know.
So you're talking about you being an alpha and the other person? So what about doing at night when you're going into dream state, or they're most likely in a dream state? They're most likely, so to
Oh,
get
that's
an
a good
alpha,
idea. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
to
a
get
great
into
idea.
alpha, all you need to do is close your eyes and lie down, and you're in alpha.
That gives me a great idea, which
Oh,
is
that's a good idea. Yeah, do it late at night.
like write out all the words, get all the names, write out all the words, record it. If you can make it a continuous recording that plays while you're sleeping, that's a brilliant idea, Michelle. And the way to do it, because you're too tired to remember what to say,
And
but you record it while you're awake and play it to yourself
Yeah.
while you're in alpha and while you're sleeping. It would be a great workshop, wouldn't it? Let's do a weekend workshop in Sedona, ancestral healing.
Let's do it, because
in Boynton Canyon, and we just go up to the Kachina woman and do it right there. You know what I mean? And then we go find a tree and sit under the tree and just merge with Mother Earth, So, and rebirth ourselves with our new DNA. you know. What an idea. What a concept. Thank you for that idea, Michelle. That was brilliant. I'm
Well,
gonna
we'll
steal
do
your
it.
idea.
We do. I'll do.
Okay, you can do it with me since you came up with it.
You know, because what I do is when I'm supporting my clients in transforming their consciousness from fear-based consciousness to love-based consciousness, I get them to record into their phone what is the opposite positive of the fear that's running them. So if the fear is, I'm afraid I'm going to get coronavirus, or I'm afraid that I'm going to have a heart attack, you state it in its opposite positive and you listen to it in a state of alpha. And also, you know, if you're going to do that as you're going to sleep, you can set the intention in your dreams to support an expansive experience of healing through the maternal and ancestral lineage for yourself and everyone in the family. Since it's so, you know, what I love about the work that you do, Dean, is that it can be really supported by the assistance of what's going on in the heavens. You know, it can really be astrologically accelerated and really expanded from aligning with what's going on with the stars. So you saying that is sort of what's happening right now definitely motivates me to get focused on, okay, so I can set the intention for my maternal lineage to release and clear trauma. You know, because, and this is interesting because this is a topic that I wanted to talk about today, which is.
I was just going to ask you, has this been happening? Has this come up for you? Because I noticed it is coming up whether we know about it or not.
Well, right. No, so not specifically healing the maternal ancestral lineage, but I wanted to talk about healing in general. And I wanted to talk about healing trauma sort of from the past. And I feel like most healing originates from some sort of traumatic experience. And the videos that I want to show today sort of go into giving more tools and more tips for how to be effective in that arena, because I feel like it's where it's at. I feel like it's where we're at as a group consciousness, is we've got some sort of portal that's opened up to allow us to have access to tools, tips, and information that, you know, they used to be secret. Healing modalities used to be kept secret, but now they're generally known by most people, you know, how to do that. So for me, healing trauma has two aspects to it. When we go through like a traumatic experience, there's a couple of things that happen automatically. First of all, we stop breathing fully, because if we stop breathing fully, we stop feeling fully, but we create an emotional backup on our energetic system, on our chakra system, like a frozen ice cube of energy. And then the second thing is we create a perception about ourselves or about the reality of the universe that is a misperception or an illusion. And then that perception keeps perpetuating and creating a reality that we don't want. So correcting perception and breathing, for me, are the tools, and working with the chakra system are basically the tools for, you know, healing trauma from our history. And I don't know if you've seen it, Dean. There's a study that was done in Stanford a while ago, maybe 10 years ago, called the ACEs study, the Adverse Childhood Experience Study, where they studied 1,700 people, and they got them to sort of identify through a chart if they'd gone through a traumatic experience, an adverse childhood experience like neglect, alcoholism, abandonment, abuse. And if they've gone through one of those experiences, they got one ACE. And like 67% of the population has one ACE. So we can sort of navigate and withstand an ACE without too much impact. But if you have 4 or more, the impact was massive in terms of your physical health. I think they said something like 12 times more likely to commit suicide, 4 times more likely to have heart attacks, and 3 times more likely to get cancer, which I thought was a significant study because it created that connection between trauma and physical illness. But the connection between trauma and emotional difficulty or mental illness, I think, is even greater. It's even bigger than that. And the point is, for me, that we don't have to inevitably suffer negative consequence for our lifetime because we've gone through traumas in our history. And I think that's the sort of healing that you do. It's a sort of healing that I do, which is to really free people up from the experience of trauma in their history so that they can be healthy and well on every level, sort of present time. And that's why I love the chakra system. And that's why I think it's important to be in relationship with it, to be able to sort of have some healing happen in this lifetime through that relationship with the chakra system. And that's what you're talking about, Dean, because, you know that touching these spots. And so for you, it's kind of touching these spots and having a vibration of gratitude and love. Is that the basic principle to your healing tools?
Yeah. So, for example, the energy right now where Ceres is lining up with Chiron and it's the end of the cycle, it's time to heal ancestral wounds or childhood wounds or wounds with the mother and grandmother or birth trauma or childhood trauma or anything. But the points, because it's Chiron and Ceres, Ceres is the root chakra, which is where we would be giving birth if we were a mother.
Yeah.
And Chiron is the back of the heart, where we feel stabbed in the back or betrayed or wounded. You know what I mean? Like, for example,
basically that type of wound that is best supported at this time.
Yeah. So, for example, I was telling the story that my parents met in World War II, but they weren't married until after the war. But they conceived a child, and the mother of my mother forced my mother, who was intending to marry my father and have a family, forced her to have an abortion against her will. She didn't want to. In fact, a few years ago, while my mother was transitioning, she was still traumatized by this, where she would be saying to my sister, "I couldn't save the baby. I couldn't save the baby." You know what I mean? Like, at 90 years old, she's still talking about something that happened in 1944. I couldn't save the baby. You know what I mean? And so this would be, in fact, what Shelley, who was doing her webinar 2 hours ago, said is, "Oh, Dean, I'd like to talk to you first. Your mother's there and she's in heaven with your grandmother and they're healing their wound." Because my mother hated my grandmother for as long as I knew them both. You know what I mean? Because of this trauma that she had where she couldn't save the baby.
Yeah.
That baby was probably me, the first time I tried to come in. And so I probably have my own wounds because I was stabbed in the back I was betrayed by my family and was aborted. And then when I finally was born the second time around, I was rejected immediately, probably because I wasn't myself from the previous time. In other words, you know what I mean? Like, it's like crazy stuff. But this is probably a good time for me to go up to Boynton Canyon, the root chakra of the planet, and heal my childhood birth trauma from, being rejected at birth, being aborted. How many times have we been aborted ourselves in past lives that we are super traumatized by? You know what I mean? So I don't mean to make anybody feel guilty or anything, but like we have lots and lots of trauma, and childhood trauma, birth trauma, anything. If somebody was molested as a child, I've been talking to people about that. It's like a good time to heal all kinds of trauma from our childhood, from our birth, whatever it is.
So just to go a little further with that, and I think that it's true, that people go through an experience that's traumatic, and anything that the spirit perceives as overwhelming would be in the category of traumatic, in which you couldn't breathe fully and you couldn't feel fully, and you created a perception. That's a trauma that can sort of keep you stuck energetically in a specific experience at a specific time until you intentionally go back to reclaim your energy back from that particular time and that particular experience. And there's very different ways in which that can happen. But I would encourage people who might be listening, one of the things that I really do recommend, and particularly since we've got specific topics, is to do sort of an inventory, sort of go back down your timeline and kind of illuminate those events, those defining times and those defining moments in your history, and put awareness around it, put some consciousness around it, put some description around it. This happened. This is how I felt. This is how it's made me feel. This is how it's impacted my life. These are the thoughts that I have as a consequence of that experience. I believe that whatever beliefs you have from that particularly traumatic experience and that particularly traumatic time. Because the first step of healing anything is awareness. I'm aware of it. I'm letting myself fully look at it and fully confront it. And then another thing that you can do that is really beneficial is to do a reframe, to reframe the beliefs, the perceptions, and the ideas that were created at that time about yourself, and reframe them positively. And as Dean was saying earlier, we're living in a hologram. and when it comes to sort of healing consciousness, what is required is to break free of the habitual consciousness. Thinking the same thoughts over and over is just going to keep us in the same reality, perpetually creating the same thing. So you want to take a leap of faith and create another belief, another thought or idea around that experience. So, to take the example of what Dean was talking about, his first time in could have been an abortion, and it's quite predictable that the mind can perceive a sense of rejection or a sense of being sent back or not wanted. So create the opposite positive perception around it, which could be something like, the wisdom of my spirit determined it was better for me to return into this present body in this present time, in this present lifetime. So there's a way of making a correctness about your reality, about your experience, so that there's no energy that's trapped in the negative perception of the experience. we reclaim it as we transmute it, as we transform the beliefs, and as we breathe into the places that didn't get the breath at the time. So, okay, I just gave a big mouthful there. I just want to touch base with you guys. See, does that make sense to you? And if you've got any questions about any of that, because it looks like, Dean, you were saying it's first chakra and it's fourth chakra, right now.
Yeah, back of the
Yeah.
heart. It's not the front of the heart, it's the back of the heart where the wound is. So you think of it as like a dagger in the back. Where you felt betrayed by your mother or your family or your ancestors, or where your ancestors hurt each other. You know what I mean? Like all the wounds, not only of your own family, like my mother rejecting me twice, my father dying, you know what I mean? And then the wounds between my mother and her mother. And then my father never even met his father. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking at both sides, the male and female sides of, like, there's just many generations in my family of, like, my father disappearing when I was 8, his father disappearing before he was born. And who knows? We don't even know the guy. His name was George Roland Oden, my grandfather, and he was a prize fight promoter in LA. That's all I know. Never met the guy. And whatever wound, he probably had plenty of wounds himself if he's a prize fight promoter.
I would imagine. Yes, it's a lot of trauma going on in there. But also, the first chakra is our sense of safety, our sense of security, our sense of support. So it's also valuable to affirm that you're safe and you're supported here in this body, in this lifetime. Some affirmation like that to create stability in the first chakra.
And literally that root chakra goes down the legs into Mother Earth. It really is the mother energy, Mother Earth.
Yeah.
And so that's why when I do it in a forest with trees, and at the, as Melanie was pointing out, Kachina, what's her name? Kachina what?
Kachina woman.
Kachina woman, I'm thinking Kachina goddess, she's a Mother Earth goddess, and she's there in the forest. And to do it in a place like that, with Mother Earth all around, and I always have people, after they clear themselves, go sit under a tree and just get into the energy of the rootedness into the earth and the mother, and rebirth yourself in the womb of the mother. You know what I mean? So it's...
Yeah, when you say rebirth yourself in the womb of the mother, a lot of people are like, well, how do I do that? What does that mean?
Mother Earth, and I get under a tree.
Yes.
And
So, you could affirm that Mother Earth is surrounding me with love, safety, and support in this body, in this lifetime, in this moment. It's things like that that really bring it into sort of where the wound might be impacting you. So betrayal, a good rebalancer for betrayal. What's the opposite of betrayal?
Acceptance, embracing,
Trust.
And the mother energy. What is the basic mother energy?
Unconditional love.
Yeah. And that's so, and also you can connect, because the energy right now is back of the heart to the root chakra. You can actually put one hand at the root chakra, one hand behind your heart, pull the daggers out if there's any there still, pull the arrows and swords and bullets out of there, all of your past life betrayals, your wounded, the many ways that your parents hurt your feelings, which can be, some of them, quite severe, including like molestations. You got to pull those out, you know what I mean? And just rejection, abandonment, death, disappearance. You know what I mean? There's so many kids whose parents aren't there for them because they're alcoholic, or they're just drug addicts, or they're workaholics, or they just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? You got to get rid of all that stuff. This is major, major healing of our roots.
Mm. So it's really good to take advantage of that. And a lot of people imagine that forgiving or letting go or healing is in some way giving permission for what happened or diminishing what happened. It's not. It's a way of really honoring your history and sort of elevating yourself beyond it, and creating yourself from it. As
History. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. What did you say?
well, literally, like the technique, the ancestral healing technique I learned from Denny Johnson is literally changing your history, changing your DNA.
Right, exactly. So these tools, I think, particularly now at this time, since they're available for everyone, really do change our physiology. They can change, therefore, when our physiology changes, they can change our trajectory. They change what we're capable of attracting and bringing in the future. And I think it's really significant conversation, to talk about this is really what's possible at this time. This healing really can happen. You can liberate yourself from your history. You can change your DNA. You can change your trajectory and your future by understanding these simple principles, applying them, and taking some action on them in a way that makes sense to you, in a way that resonates for you. And that's why I wanted to sort of share the videos that I've got to share that give a little bit of information about healing and why it's exciting to be alive now in this time in history, because all this information is coming forward. A lot of it used to be closeted and secret, from spiritual traditions. They didn't share this wisdom and let everybody know about it. But now we get to know about it. And a little bit of understanding about the mechanisms is kind of just accelerates our ability to be skillful in bringing it forward. So I think I'd like to share, first of all, I'd like to share the end part of a video that I started last week with Cindy Dale, and she talks about the chakras. And she's going to talk about, I think she's talking about the 8th, 9th, and 10th chakra, which, I don't know an awful lot about, but I think they're important to know something about that can be helpful. So unless anyone's got any comments or questions, we're going to jump into that. Are you hanging around, Dean, or are you going?
I'm going to be here. I'm multitasking, but I will be. And I just put the YouTube
Link.
recording of this session so far, but because we're going to show Gaia right now, I'm going to stop it. So I'm putting the link right there if anybody would like to. And this actually recording goes all the way from Shelley Hofberg and then through my astrology and ancestral healing. But it's interesting, this common thread through this whole series of webinars has been this kind of ancestral healing, or healing of your history, healing of your roots. And so this is all there on YouTube, and I'm going to stop the YouTube when you're ready to start the Gaia.
Yeah, just as Joseph Dispenza says, we're living in a time when it's not just important to know, it's important to know how. So that's what, did you want to say something, Mel?
Oh, did you guys get kicked out? Because I was just wondering if it was just me, because everything got frozen and then
it was just you.
Oh, okay, just checking.
But sometimes it happens to us too.
Yeah,
so,
okay. I was just wondering,
you never know when you're going to get the honor of getting kicked off. And I'm hoping that I don't. But Dean, I sent you last week the 2 links that I want to share this week. So if I do get kicked off, you have both of them.
Is it in an email from you?
I sent you a text last week.
Okay, so is there any way you can send it to me as an email? Because my text is on my phone, but I need to do it on my computer. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, if I get kicked off, I will.
I know what I'll do. I'll just, well, it's good if you can put it in the chat right now, maybe. Because then I can copy it and click on it and I'll be there to take over.
Well, let's see. Let's see, I'll do it before I do the share because I have to click on it. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it. So it may take me a little bit longer to do the share, but that's probably the best way for me to do it. So I'll go into the chats. And I'm going to go in here.
Christine, are you actually there?
Yeah, I know I've been so quiet,
It's like I
but
haven't heard a word out of you today.
I know. Well, because, I'm always on there with you, and now Melanie was there and another lady, and I was like, oh, let them talk and let them enjoy
Oh.
themselves. So I'm just listening, and the reason why I join you every week is because I love and I believe in that the everything's connected, and the universe just in our lives and things in our lives reflect the astrology, and you talk about that all the time. So it's really interesting how everything's connected and things happen, in my life that it's connected to what's happening now. And I think it's really, really important to heal our trauma and our wounds for sure. And for me, it's been really great because I've had evidence of healed people or people that are healing my family and friends coming up to me, and we're having good conversations about it. And for me, it's like me healing my stuff, and then when I heal my stuff, then other people come around too. So it's been great. Thank you, Dean. It's always awesome.
I was just thinking maybe the stuff about you not talking because one other person is here talking, Melanie. It's like, is that some kind of childhood trauma that you're only allowed to talk when you're the only one?
No. It's just as soon as I think of something, then somebody's talking and just talking and needs to talk. And I like to listen a lot, and so I get as much out of talking as I do out of listening. And sometimes like a thought will come up, and then somebody will ask that question, like something comes up, and then Michelle's been asking all the questions that I wanted to ask. So it's that's what I'm talking about. It's just amazing how it works. And Michelle talks a lot about how what you're saying is also connected to what she's doing. And if I listen enough, a lot of times the answers just come to me. And I write a lot too, so I look at things a little bit later. But yeah, I think the most important thing we can do is just heal ourselves, and then when you're healing yourself, then everything around you starts to heal. So yeah, great stuff, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Right
you,
on.
Christine, for sharing that. So I found one of them and I've put this one up that I want to show. And I guess I'll find the other one when I show the other one, because I can't find it. And I want to show this one and then chat a little bit about what she's talking about. I think you might find this interesting, Dean, because she talks a bit about symbols. And I know that you're naturally inclined towards symbols, so you might find this interesting. So this is shorter, this one, and I'll put it on first. So I'm going to share.
You're muted, Michelle. Are you there still, Michelle?